Hey there everybody, Mazarok here, and today I want to talk to you guys about Protection Warrior. We had a chance to test it even more in Mythic Plus with some new changes, and it kind of seems like the changes are kind of being dialed in. They're very minor, one or two things. We haven't seen any big sweeping Prot Warrior changes along the way, and I think that Blizzard might think that Prot Warrior's kind of done, so I'm really excited for this. So I want to go over a few standout talent choices, how it feels in Mythic Plus, and you know, the keys and stuff like that we were doing, and just have a general Prot Warrior discussion and chat. Do please like, comment, subscribe. I'm flabbergasted by all the support. We are so close to 4K subs. Thank you so much, everybody. If you want to talk anything Prot Warrior or any other tank, join the Discord down below, filled with absolutely amazing and wonderful people. You'll be glad to be there. And as well, there's a Twitch link down below if you wish to watch me stream, and a Patreon if you wish to support me directly. I cannot do it without my patrons. Thank you so much for all of your support. So, Protection Warrior. So, we were going through the Academy last night, one of the new Mythic Plus dungeons in the rotation that we can work with. So there's still Azure Vaults, Ruby Life Pools, and now they've added Academy. So we went into Academy, and I started kind of testing the some different talents and some different builds with Prot Warrior, and I'm going to wait for the unfortunate. There is an unfortunate part of this discussion which we'll save for later, but aside from that, everything felt so good. Like I cannot tell you how good Prot Warrior felt. It is a ton of fun to play. It is very fluid. One of the changes that they made is if you take Rend and Blood and Thunder, you no longer have to apply Rend first to spread it. Just hitting Thunderclap spreads Rend onto 5 targets, which saves rage generation at the opening of a pull, because you always had to decide whether you needed to shield block, which you usually should, or Rend to be more aggressive, because it does cost 30 rage to apply Rend. But now you can just straight up hit Thunderclap and start rending all over the place, which is actually a very big upgrade for Protection Warrior and makes the opening of pulls that much safer and that much better. And it was honestly felt really good and was a lot of fun. There's a few talents in here that I kind of been working with mostly the same setup. Enduring Defenses is one that is really good, especially because right now we're probably going to be needing to use Into the Fray to get to some haste caps and be able to actually use what we need to be using for dungeons and stuff like that. But as the seasons go on and the patches go on and we get more gear, more secondaries, we're probably going to be able to swap to Heavy Repercussions and take off Enduring Defenses. But Enduring Defenses alone pretty much allows you to upkeep 90+ shield block uptime with very minimal effort. It's no longer the Shadowlands have to work around Reprisal, have to charge weave, have to intervene, have to do all the things to keep up your shield block. This is much better, especially when combined with Last Stand and Bolster, which are going to be two fairly common talents. You're pretty much going to be always taking Last Stand and combining it with Bolster. Thunderlord was very noticeable in Mythic Plus. So what that does is increases the radius of your Demo Shout by 5 yards, and each enemy hit by Thunderclap reduces the remaining cooldown of Demo Shout by 1 second, up to 3 seconds. This is significantly nerfed from where it was before, but it is an easy grab on the tree. It's really not difficult to get, and it's a good point for you to put in and get. And of course, you can pair that with Booming Voice, which you're probably going to be doing to give you a 20% increased damage to all targets affected and generate rage. Now, it generates a little bit less rage than it does in Shadowlands right now. It was 40 rage, it's now 30 rage, but that's fine. Our rage generation is rock solid because we now have Blood Surge. Your bleed effects have a chance to grant you 5 rage. This is a 15% proc chance. And we now have 2 bleeds constantly on pretty much every target, which is Rend and Deep Wounds, which is really good because this allows us to kind of have a mini banner at all times with minimal setup. You hit Thunderclap, boom, you've got Thunderclap, Revenge, boom, you've got Deep Wounds on pretty much everything, and you've got Rend on at least 5 targets, and then you can start going into your rotation. So the buff to Blood and Thunder hit Thunderclap Rend really also does affect rage generation at the beginning of pulls. There's a lot of little synergies with this where, yes, it's a quality of life thing, but it's also a big rage builder thing, and I think that one, that point might be slept on a little bit, or just not noticed as much as a direct kind of buff, and that's one reason why I'm really, really happy. The Conduit Show of Force absolutely does increase your damage. It's really, really nice. Revenge damage increased by 10%, and Revenge increases the damage of your next Thunderclap by 20%. I was running with Barbaric Training at 25% increased Revenge damage, and Seismic Reverb, which is very noticeable when you start getting into it. You get into, like, during Avatar, you get into Revenge, Thunderclap, Shield Slamming everywhere in between, but you do have a lot of abilities that buff your three main core damaging abilities, right? The things you're going to be hitting the most in the dungeon is Revenge, Thunderclap, and Shield Slam. Not in any particular order there. Those are just kind of the three big ones that you're pretty much always hitting. Those are the three keybinds that you're going to be needing in the right hands and being able to hit them very, very constantly. But honestly, it just felt so smooth, so good. And adding the fact that you can get 10% base leech with leeching strikes and one-handed specializations, and you have a lot easier times keeping yourself alive with all of the ignore pain buffs. You can go with violent outbursts to increase that as well, but the tier set does straight up give you an ignore pain, if I'm not mistaken, or no, it's the other way around. Violent outburst gives you an ignore pain, the tier set doesn't, but you should always be having an ignore pain running anyway, so it's really not that difficult to upkeep, which is really, really nice. And then, of course, we still have access to Indomitable. And on the left side of the tree, I think people are going to be sleeping on this one, but Impending Victory. Impending Victory has never been a bad talent for Protection Warriors. The problem with it, or not the problem with it, the problem with the tree was it was pretty much all Shadowlands, always on the exact same row as Indomitable. And when it comes down to healing, Indomitable is going to be doing way more healing and is going to keep you way more tankier than Imp Victory ever is going to be. But that's not what Imp Victory does, right? That's not what it's meant to be. You instantly attack the target, it costs 10 rage, causing attack power damage, whatever, and healing you for 30% of your maximum health. This replaces Victory Rush, and killing an enemy that yields experience or honor resets the cooldown on Imp Vic, and it makes it cost no rage. Why is this really good? As a warrior player, as a pro warrior player for a long time, I have always loved having a warlock in the party because of health stones. Yes, I love health stones. I would go through 25 to 30 in a dungeon if I was having an off night because I would constantly be eating them to keep myself back up. Imp Victory is a better health stone on a 25-second cooldown that doesn't require you to leave combat to use, and if you kill an enemy, you get the killing blow, which we now have two, we have all our abilities and 2 bleeds that are constantly ticking, allowing us a chance to get that. It resets the cooldown on it and makes it cost no rage. Why do you not want a better Hellstone? This is an easy 1-point grab at the top left of the class tree. Really, really solid all around. The amount of stuns that we have access to, or full stops, is really, really solid. In fact, there are times where you could even say you could just not take Stormbolt if you don't want to, and you could really just get away with it and be fine and still have plenty of stopping power. But that leads us to the unfortunate part of this, and this is kind of the paradox of Shockwave that I have been talking about for a long time. Shockwave is now a talent at the bottom right of the class tree. Shockwave, Rumbling Earth, and Sonic Boom. As I was doing the dungeons, they just recently buffed Shockwave's base damage for Prot by 50%. I'm not sure if they did it for Fury and Arms, I can't confirm that, but I know they did they absolutely did for Protection, and this also generates 10 rage. They have been buffing this set of talents for a while to make it contend with all of this. Shockwave is meant to be used as a full stop. Now it's being used as a damage cooldown, and as we were going through the dungeons, and I was, dealing a lot of damage with Shockwave, which I will admit felt really good. I'm not going to deny that at all. The problem was I felt no incentive to hold it. Why would I ever want to hold this ability? I have Demo Shout Up. It's going to do 20% more damage. I'm about to hit Avatar. I'm hitting Shockwave. It's going to do big damn. Big boom. Woo! But, oh wait, now there's an ability that, you know, I should have saved it for 10 seconds because guess what? It needs to stop. And I might not have it, or someone might not have it. Because Shockwave with this is now a DPS ability with the added bonus that it does stop things. But is it going to stop what you want? Not necessarily. It might. Things might line up. But you're basically going to be hitting this on cooldown to do big damn. It's no longer a utility spell or a utility ability with a damage anymore. It's now been flipped. It's now a damage ability with a utility component. And that to me feels really bad for Shockwave, especially because now when you're comparing Shockwave to Thunderous Roar, the damage isn't even fucking comparable. And Thunderous Roar doesn't do anything but do damage. You do get a small rage bonus if you get lucky with your Blood Surge ticks, because it does apply a bleed. But if you're comparing, you know, apples and apples, just pure damage, Shockwave wins out every time, and it does have a stop. So now it essentially makes the Thunderous Roar leg of that tree kind of fucking dead and useless. Why is it that a pure DPS ability is doing less DPS than a DPS ability with utility? And that's because they want to die on this hill to make Shockwave a viable capstone. But that's the capstone. That's the paradox. I don't no longer want to hold Shockwave because it does big damage. Because why would you? It does big damage for 10 seconds because I know something that is needed for a stop, right? The reason why I like Shockwave in Season 4 and I hit it all of the time is because I know with the Conduit, I'm always going to have it for what I need it for, right? And sometimes that means that I'm not hitting it. I'm not necessarily hitting it off cooldown. I might save it for 10, 15 seconds. You know, but if you go into a Gambit now and you're using Shockwave for damage purposes, I use Shockwave in Gambit right now to stop fish sticks. I basically have something every second fish sticks on every pull. Because just with Shockwave alone. But now it's for damage. I don't give a shit about that. You guys figure it out. This is big damage. Why? Like, so now I'm being unethical and I'm being a bad tank because I want to do more damage. But it does so much damage. Why do I want to hold it? See where this paradox lies? And this is where I don't like where they're going with this. I'm not going to deny that hitting Shockwave is fun. It is. It's a fun button to press with Sonic Boom and Rumbling Earth. It is a really fun button to press now. But it comes with problems. Where they could just have this not come with those problems. You know what I mean? Have the DPS ability of Thunderous Roar do Thunderous Roar stuff. You know what I mean? Do damage! But no, now it's Shockwave. And Shockwave does look like it's going to be the play for current Mythic Plus because it does deal so much damage and it does have stopping power. But that means you're also going to have to take a point in something like Intimidating Shout, Stormbolt, to give you that added on-demand kind of need for a stop. If you need something that is absolutely needs to be stunned, you're going to want to have something that you're going to want to hold and have it on demand. Before it was Shockwave, now for me it's going to be Stormbolt. I was running it in Mythic Plus last night, and honestly, having Stormbolt felt really, really good to have because Shockwave was always on cooldown when I needed it. Like, literally, it was always on cooldown when I needed it because I was pretty much always hitting it on cooldown because, boom, does big damage. See where I'm going with this here? Like, this is... I've seen a lot of pro Shockwave users, and, like, it's literally this paradox of this ethics of, you know, being a tank, being a good tank versus just wanting to do a lot of damage. And if something deals so much damage, you just can't give it up and you have to hit it on cooldown, then it's kind of creates degen gameplay that I'm personally not here for. No, I am here for it. I'm gonna play it because you know what I mean. But yeah, but tons of utility all around, tons of options, tons of customizability in the Prot Warrior tree. It feels really, really good. I am going to be coming up with kind of here the basic core things you're pretty much always going to be taking on these trees, and these are the options that you can customize and choose around, and Prot Warrior is going to be the first one, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult because there's not as many core things that you absolutely need, and you have quite a few more flex points than I noticed with some other tanks, so I will be going over some things like that and working around with that. But what do you guys think about Prot Warrior? Again, guys, don't let my little Shockwave rant dissuade you guys. Prot Warrior is feeling insanely good. good self-sustainability. I mean, don't expect to be a Blood Death Knight, right? Don't expect to be immortal. But with proper play and all the toolkits that you have, you can pretty much be immortal. Like, you can be. But it does require a lot more skill, a lot more talent, and a lot more things going, some things going your way. If something goes bad, it can go bad in a hurry. But there's tons of good options here for you guys, especially with all the stuff that increase attack speed, giving you more shield slam procs. Like, I think Prot Warrior is going to be a great raid tank and a great Mythic Plus tank. But that's kind of what I wanted to go with, go through with you guys today, and how fluid and how good this spec feels. I'm so happy to be maining Prot Warrior and Dragonflight. You guys have yourselves a good day, and thank you very much for listening.